Hey everybody, it's Steve, Short Shift Garage. Um, I'm disgusted with Dodge. They just unveiled the new Super Bee, and it's a 600 horsepower Hurricane inline six with turbos, and we know it's been pushed out pretty close to the max. As far as horsepower goes, and so there goes your longevity. Anytime you max something out that much, it's a Hurricane's a strong motor, no doubt about it, and the six-cylinder engine design is phenomenal. A lot of people don't know that the six-cylinder inline engine is like almost the most perfectly balanced engine there is. The Dodge Slant 6 was an off-take on that, and it did actually a little better job, but still, you got twin turbos. You're slamming a bunch of they do the twin turbo to give you. I'm not sure exactly how it's done. I haven't seen it yet, but I would suspect that they're trying to give you power through all the range instead of having it all just come in on the top end. But who knows? Reality, who cares? We all asked for a Hemi. We didn't get it. Are we going to get it tomorrow night on Roadkills when they supposedly come out with their SRT version? Or is this the same thing they're going to unveil tonight on Roadkill Nights? Roadkill Nights sponsored by Motor Trend, and then Dodge is an affiliate on that. That's why they have that whole thing works. Anyway, that's my disappointing news. The other side of it is, I know a lot of you guys out there are struggling to put your tunes together, and even with the information I've given you, which changes constantly. It's kind of like, you go to grade school and they give you a pencil with an eraser, and so you make it through life. You decide to go into the trades. You want to become a carpenter, and the foreman or the journeyman on the site hands the apprentice, which is you, a carpenter's pencil, and says, use this from now on. Throw away that thing with the eraser. You can't make mistakes. And you immediately start making a bunch of mistakes, and all around you are scrap wood pieces with numbers all over them and a lot of scratch outs. And then you realize, hey, if I turn this pencil on the side, it'll do this for me. That's a 1/4 inch offset. And you know what? This pencil width is a 1/4 inch thick. And you realize it's that guy, that journeyman gave you a multi-tool. And now you got to figure out how to use it. So it's kind of what tuning's all about. You start off with a pencil with an eraser, and you're learning, and you're doing, learning the mathematics side of it, where, you're using that eraser a lot until you get the formulas down. And then after a while, you look over to your pencil box, and all the erasers are full and fresh, and you're actually doing what you're doing without even realizing. You're getting things done. So it's practice, practice, practice. Because later on in life, you're going to get handed that carpenter's pencil, and you're going to be expected to know exactly what you're doing. And if you don't, it's going to be pretty evident. And all the boss has to do is walk around the site and see how many numbers you've got written all over different things. And if you can't do the math in your head, you're wasting time, and you're not going to stick around that job long. So that's kind of a weird analogy. I know, I understand, but it works. It works in my head. So the thing I'm trying to do is encourage you. These things, everything changes in this field daily. I mean, it's like you stumble across something, and suddenly you say, now I'm getting it. The fact that we don't have access to the algorithmic logic Um, since we don't, it's almost impossible to go through a day in the life of a tuner without suddenly realizing something else, something new. I was kind of astonished. There's a tuner out there, and he says he can get 50 to 150 horsepower out of a stock V6. Well, I had to tell the person that was asking me that, you know what, if it was even possible, which I sincerely doubt it is, maybe 40. I know there's a couple of good tuners, really, really good tuners that can get 40 out of it. And they'll do that on a straight roller dyno. And the problem is it's going to be tuned basically like if you're tuning for the track. You will have no portability with the vehicle. It will run best on the day it was tuned. And then, depending on how the conditions change, it's going to affect the tune in some way. Your air density is always, if you tune them that tight, air density is going to be a huge factor. So I talked to this person that was considering having this other person tune the car, and he had several options. One didn't appear from the advertisement that this gentleman was going on. He hadn't called and talked to the other tuner yet, so I can't really tell you, but what the results of any conversations were. He doesn't know for right now what tuning software the guy's using. I suspect it's probably HP tuners just by looking at what the guy was doing. But there was a couple of keywords that popped out, and he says, I can change fueling and spark. That raised a few eyebrows, because that's a trick. That's a lazy tuner. If that's what he's actually doing, that's a lazy tuner's method of tuning a car. Okay, he's not even looking at the VE tables. And of course, we know if we correct the VE tables and don't go too far with them, we go just enough to where we're actually making the necessary corrections and not touching environmental issues, then your fueling and your spark are going to be very, very close to what you want. Now, I've seen a couple of people go in and take out all the negative timing. Well, that's, to me, that's just like, duh. Now what is your torque management going to use? If you're at this point here and it needs to pull timing and it needs to pull fuel in order to reduce torque adequately to save the transmission or save the engine, what's it going to use? It can't. So, you gotta think things through. You've got to, if you do something, you make a change, and you realize, hey, it's great, and then you get back in the car and it doesn't react the same way the next day. Or if you're tuning all day and you're working with a warm car and you're just tuning out that warmed up car, and then you get back in it the next morning and won't run with crap because you're no longer in a warmed up car. Well, you just screwed up the cold start cycles. So you got to go back and fix those. Things you didn't realize that were going to get affected when you made other changes are suddenly now affected. So, what I'm saying is every day is a learning experience with this stuff. Don't get discouraged. There's you're going to make mistakes. So just say, hey, you know what? I'm still using that pencil with the eraser. Let's start over. And even pros make mistakes. There's always a big scrap pile at a job site, and those are the mistakes. Some of them were the mistakes of the guy that went and picked up the lumber, didn't check it, didn't cull it. Some of the mistakes are made when they were cutting the lumber. They cut it too green, and as soon as you unband it, it goes all over the place wonky. Those are mistakes. And at every level, there can be a mistake made. So it's not just you. it can be all the way down the line, from the way the tree grew to the final product of the home. So you that's a perspective I can use because I dabbled in home building for a couple of years when the IT world fell apart. I fell back on my plumbing contractor's license, actually my master plumber's card. Went over and got my contractor's license, turned that around later, and I was a general contractor for a while. So I understand this, and that's why I convey it this way, because it makes sense. It's just the way things in life work. If you make a mistake, as long as you don't blow your car up, and I think I've given you the safeguards for those to avoid that, as long as you don't blow your car up. And, I have, so it's... that's the big mistake. That's the one that hurts the wallet, and I've done it. I'm blowing one up, but I just thought I could do things I wasn't quite ready to do yet. So anyway, the point of this whole video is just don't get discouraged. Dodge is making huge mistakes right now. They just made this big one with this stupid Bumblebee announcement. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there or why they're refusing. There's got to be some logic behind it somewhere that makes sense. I'm not sure if it is. I could probably roll it back to the Clean Air Act and say, you know what? This is probably the cause of all the problems. And this could be, okay? But I don't know the algorithmic logic of that process either. So, and Dodge isn't going to tell us. So, anyway, I just thought I'd put this little Saturday morning video out, and hopefully you guys get a little encouragement from it. Everybody makes mistakes. It's how we fix our mistakes that matters. And if we just give up, you're going nowhere. But if you jump right back in there again, and like they say in the movies, in the cowboy movies, get back on that horse and ride. So, y'all take care. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Like and subscribe, please. Thanks a lot. Bye.